Using the phrase "I have been attacked" here would of course be incorrect, but I think it would be quite descriptive in a vaguely poetic sense to say that I have been dogged by certain individuals who've been approaching me by private message and saying, if you can do this magic thing, why don't you walk on water? Why don't you make all of your heart's desires come true? Why don't you get yourself a bigger house at the wave of your magic wand? And so on and so forth. These are very interesting characters because they don't seem to have paid attention to the argument that I've been trying to express. I do admit that my argument has become more articulate with the passage of time here on YouTube because of course we're exposed to a wide variety of different ideas here on YouTube, and therefore it's quite intellectually stimulating. You can work out more about how to express yourself in a more cohesive manner, but the argument has remained the same. We cannot say whether any form of deity or spirit actually exists, but one can seem to, under some circumstances, generate the experience of something strange occurring. And the mechanism is unknown, but the methodology comes essentially from religious and spiritual schools of thought as well as from occultism. Okay? We can generate strange experiences, and that's basically as far as we can go. Yes, there are some people who will quite dogmatically say it works. Okay? These people, they don't understand what they're talking about. I had a discussion with a lady who was quite proud of her Wiccan religion, which I've got no objection with whatsoever, okay, but she did say that her magic worked. And I said, well, can you prove it? And she says, well, if you do something and you get a result once, then you do the same thing and you get the same kind of results a second time, that proves it works. Says, no, that proves you got a strange experience. Because essentially, if you were to do it a third time and you didn't get the results, then you couldn't say it works. So I'm not turning around to you and saying that if you recite a certain mantra that you will win your state or national lottery, that you will be able to give yourself a lover of your dreams, cure yourself of all your diseases, solve your problems with your career or your finances or anything else in life. Certainly not. And it would be wrong and disingenuous on this channel for me to be able to say such a thing. All we can do is explain the traditions which other people have used to attempt to bring about something, and explain some of the sensations and apparent results which we seem to get as a result of doing these things. That's all we can do. We don't know how the results, if it happens at all, actually occurs. Okay? The most testable methods seem to be those which are spiritualistic rather than necessarily to do with generating results in the outer world, such as astral projection, remote viewing, trying to generate telepathic experiences, and also to a certain degree the apparent summoning of spirits, whether they're the spirits of people who are currently alive but are in a state of rest or sleeping, or whether this is something which appears to be of religion. We can't say whether a spirit exists, but we can say there's a strange experience. That's all we can do. And I really think that it's about time within occult circles, so to speak, that we change the use of the words, okay, so that we can convey a better quality of message. I know it's very culturally ingrained within witchcraft, as well as within some forms of occultism, to say that magic works. But that is wrong. When I was basically a bit of a, in inverted commas, neophyte, and I was attending various pagan groups, I wanted to have the thing that worked. But I didn't find it. And I didn't find it because it wasn't there. What was there was a very broad, complex spectrum or rainbow of techniques that one can experiment with, play around with, and attempt to try and get some kind of results. But that's all. A lot of the claims that people made were extrapolations from some experiences. The extrapolations which were used by some people as a proof of the validity of a certain doctrine or dogma. But the very fact that they have tried to prove the dogma or doctrine shows that they're trying to prove a presupposition which they had arrived at prior to experimenting. Okay? Rather than trying to work out what the phenomena itself is about and what it can try and bring about. When I was, again, in this neophyte or new to the occult stage, there was a fair few people who believed quite strongly and passionately that at some point in the future, all of the wisdom of occultism would be transformed into a science, a real science. It is rather strange that it's the abuse of language of the actual occultists and Wiccans and pagans and New Agers and all the rest of those that's actually getting in the way of trying to be scientific about the phenomena in question. Alright, I'm trying to explain this slowly because I know there's a lot of people out there who are struggling with this. But if there is ever, and I mean ever, to come a time in the future when all of this strange consciousness-based phenomena is recognized as a reality of sorts, and a more structured, as it were, science of occultism is to be generated, we have to use words and ideas differently to make sure we don't destroy our own arguments, as well as to get in the way of a proper, in-depth scientific analysis of the phenomena concerned. Okay? It is important, and I would say that the phenomena that we deal with when we're being experimental occultists will have some kind of benefits to humanity. Hypothetically, for health reasons, to a certain degree, only a small benefit, but it may still be there. And also for human communication and self-understanding. But to get there, the whole culture has to be changed dramatically. Especially in terms of the arguments that people use about what the phenomena is about.